Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
I'm so
having
grateful.
me.
I feel like every time we have a conversation, I want to like bottle it up and share your experience with other people because I will never forget. And I feel like I've referenced you before, either on the podcast or elsewhere. I'll never forget the first time I met you. You had an experience in meditation and you were nervous because of I believe, and you could tell me your perspective, but I believe it was how much you were actually feeling. And you seemed like afraid to go there. And then over the past, I feel like that may have been like in April. And then over the past 2 months, I've just watched you completely open and connect, and then paired with the conversations we've had, it's just been so special to hear about your journey, how it's impacted you, how it's impacted motherhood for you. And I just want a time to chat here, and hopefully it can inspire other moms or other individuals who are like thinking about starting a practice for themselves.
Yes, it has completely changed everything for me. I came from a place of just like a lot of reactivity, which is common in motherhood, and, to a place where I just don't let it penetrate my like emotional well-being as much, at least anymore. It's become so important to me because, you know, you can do like everything right, like eat well and get sleep and whatever and meditate, but like you can't control your children's behaviors. And so I have two girls, Summer, who's turning 9 months this month, and Sydney, who's turning 3 in December. And so, two under the age of 3. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And Sydney has her own personality and she has her own big feelings that she's going through. And I have to be there for them and not react to her. And so she's going to have her temper tantrums, especially like since January. So Summer was born in January, and I found out about you last year. It was halfway through my second pregnancy with Summer, and I had these like negative things happening to me, just interactions with strangers, just like this negative energy. And I didn't know like where it was coming from, but I just felt like I needed to get rid of it. And I was speaking to Josh, like my partner, the father of my kids, about it. And I was like, I just feel like there's like this negative energy that's following me and like that's out of my control. And I just need to like clear this. And so somehow I came across your profile and I wanted to reach out to you, like, for like a one-on-one. And I wasn't even sure like what it was about, but I was obviously like, I was drawn to it, to whatever, you were teaching and your story. And then you just so happened to launch the app, which was like what,
December.
December. And so I was like, oh, like this is great, because like I didn't really even know about like how the website worked, and all the material that you offered. And so I was like, oh, this is great. Like I'll download this app and, I'll do this. And so, I did whatever, signed up. As I was looking, like you did have like the section with like the prenatal, whatever, but like you obviously now you have this amazing program because you're pregnant. So that's like, I'm so happy that you have that. But I was just kind of like looking around and I didn't know what to do and I didn't know where to start. And, I was kind of still dealing with whatever, and you're pregnant and emotions. And so I didn't really get into the Kundalini part of it like right away, because like I read the disclaimer, you shouldn't do this when you have high blood pressure and like pregnancy. And so I was nervous. And so I waited till after I gave birth. I gave birth in January. And then obviously like you're caught up with motherhood and, dealing with the toddler and dealing with the baby, and the toddler's not used to the baby. And it's just like a whirlwind, and you're in it. Like you are in it at that point in motherhood. And then you opened up the space. And I was like, oh my God, like it's here in Long Beach where I live, and I can like go there now. And so I think I was just checking the website and checking the calendar. And I was like I need to get there. Like, I was like, I need to get there. And I was still nervous. And it was great because you had the first thing that I came to was Lee Crane's moment by moment workshop for parents. And I was like surrounded by all these parents. And I'm like, this is so nice because you're connecting with your community. And motherhood, like especially like what you are going through, it can be very isolating and very lonely. I actually like shared my story. I was, I think, like 9 weeks postpartum at that point. And I was just like telling, speaking like how I was dealing with a toddler and like an infant and just like what I was going through. And, everyone felt for me and it was like hugs and advice. And it was just so nice. It was so nice to meet people and connect with people. And then the very next day, I came to Marcy's class, which was the womb healing class. And I felt like I needed to be there just because of like everything I've gone through.
That's when we spoke.
That's when we
I
spoke.
remember that.
So that was the very next day. And I didn't know obviously what to expect, but like, I just felt like I had been holding on to past trauma, past like life events that I had gone through, that it was like a lot of like letting go and grief and, whether it was like jobs or friendships or past relationships. And it just kind of like, it can build up in you, right? And you hold on to these things and like, it's almost like you become calloused and like you just form this exterior. And it's just like this stagnant energy, right, that you have within you, which I didn't realize at the time. But during that class, during Marcy's class, she did, the healing on us. She did the whole meditation. And at the end, there was a breathing segment. And all of a sudden, I just felt like this energy all throughout my body, like my hands just like tingling. And I felt like I was almost like pinned to the floor and then just like this like white light. And it was so scary. It was like, I was like, what is happening right now? I don't know what this is, but like make it stop because I'm like, I just never felt that before.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of terrifying. So that was like my first energy experience. And I had met you right after, and I told you like this had happened and how I wanted to try Kundalini, but I like don't know what I'm getting myself into. And I am one of the people who did Google Kundalini like before I saw your video that says like, do not Google Kundalini.
Don't Google it.
And so it's like, I don't know, like if I can like handle this, like, I have like high blood pressure issues sometimes, like, I'm not sure. And then you said like, that was like another sign for you to start the Begin Within, the beginner series. And so I, made a promise to myself when that, like, I will sign up for that. And that's like, that will be my journey into Kundalini yoga. And so that was in like, I think the end of May. Yeah. Right. And once a week, and we would meet here at the space with other women who were also mostly moms, and share our stories and why we wanted to get into meditation and my story, like obviously whatever I said leading up. And it was also just to find something for myself, find a peace. And, as a mom, we had spoken about this. It's no one tells you how much your identity changes and that you are no longer who you were, and you can lose that piece of yourself. Like, and not that you can't bring that back. You just evolve into this new person, And so I had gone from a life of like just being carefree and surfing and traveling and beach, whatever, to like, you're a mom and you have little people that depend on you. And so like, that's it. Like, and it's so easy. Well, I mean, of course it's like easy. You just put them in, ahead of you all the time. You just put everything else ahead of you all the time. That is obviously expected, but you will burn yourself out. That's what I realized, like, while I was doing, I mean, I didn't even know that was going to happen as I was doing the practice, that would change for me. I didn't, I kind of came in with no expectations, not knowing that this will change the way that I feel, the way that I parent, and that this is something that I need to do every day to kind of refill that cup. because it's my energy and I have to like protect myself, and I have to, you have to take care of your, your nervous system, your everything, like your energy, right?
Yeah.
Before you can give it to anyone else.
Yep.
So it's just saved me, honestly. In like so many ways. It's just been amazing to have it.
What particular ways have you felt the embodiment of the practice and the application of the practice? So I know that you strive for every day. You don't always get to every day because that's normal and that's life sometime as a mom. But how do you feel like the time spent in meditation has directly translated into your everyday and into your life as a mom?
It's translated in the way that like I first of all, this is the way that I see it and feel about it, especially now, like being a mom of two. Free time is a luxury, right? Like, unless you have a nanny 24/7, or your kids are in daycare, or, you have family around, like, it's a luxury. And parenting, especially like a lot of parents today, like it all kind of falls on you, right? It's like we don't live in these societies where like the saying, it takes a
Yeah.
village. It does take a village, right? And when you're in it alone, it's it's a lot, like dealing with everything. And so for me, with the practice, especially with like having two little kids, it's the fact that I can take 5 to 10 minutes, and that 5 to 10 minutes of a meditation or breath work will completely transform the way that I feel for the rest of the day. It helps me become less reactive, and just like I don't get triggered as easily if there's a temper tantrum, or I don't get, annoyed if I like hear like, something like annoying outside. You know what I mean? Just things that like
Yeah.
things that would like annoy me, like they don't affect me anymore. And it's brought so much gratitude to my life. So like during the summer, there's like a lot of, just meditations of manifestation and abundance. And there was like this beautiful like light period, it's just like light and like beautiful and airy. And it was just like incredible, meditating on the beach and coming here to the space for meditations. And like I came for the summer solstice, and you meditate like for like manifestations of abundance and whatever. And like you can think about like whatever things you want. And I just like remember after meditations of abundance, I would like finish and I'd open my eyes and I'd look around, and I was just like, I don't need anything else. Like I am abundant. I have all my abundance. And it brought me to a space where I can appreciate my children, my home, having food on the table. Like I don't need anything beyond this. Like I have everything I need. I am abundant. And then in that moment, it's like you're so grateful and you just have so much gratitude. So like I would always read about a practice of gratitude, and I was like, this is like ridiculous. Like what am I gonna like say like what I'm grateful for at the end? I'm like, this is so, like,
Yeah.
like I just before I'm like, this is so silly. But like now it just comes so naturally.
Yeah.
Because I am just so grateful for, my children, my home, my partner. Like I'm so grateful for my life here in Long Beach. I'm so grateful for the journey, that led me here. Everything that I went through, it was necessary for me to get to this point to become the person who I am. Like I'm grateful for all of that. I didn't feel that way before. Like I didn't even think about it, and it's just like, it really makes you also more, and you talk about this too a lot, just becoming present, like being in the present moment, enjoying your children, right? Like being with your kids, and like when Sydney says, hey, mommy, let's play supermarket, like, and just being in that moment as much as you can, or whatever it may be, wherever you are, like when I come to meditation, when I come to the space for meditation, then I'm in that moment of meditation, and I'm so thankful that I can also do that. Like I can come here for an hour and 15 minutes and just fully immerse myself into this practice and not be thinking about anything else or be disturbed by anything else. I would love to commit an hour each day. And sometimes I do when I can. Like sometimes I'll start off with like, okay, I'll just do this like 10-minute one. And then I'm like, okay, I still have more. Like, okay, I'll do this 15-minute one. And like, that's the best part about the app. It's like, oh, like, yeah, I want to feel like more focused or clear or like, you know, like mix them up and do little add-ons to the first one that you start with, you know. But then I love like coming here too, where you just let yourself go and let yourself become immersed in the whole thing. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, was that I let myself completely become immersed in this practice and everything that it has to offer. And I just let myself go into the practice to feel it.
What you said before about a practice of gratitude is something that's been on my mind a lot lately, because when like we hear about like saying affirmations or practicing gratitude, but the real magic happens when we have a frequency shift where we can actually feel what we're thinking or saying. And I have to agree, like I really feel that the practice shifts something so much within us that we're able to reach new octaves. We're able to feel into frequencies, even see differently, like actually see life differently. Like you were saying before, just like playing a store or playing grocery store with her, and just seeing that as like such an invitation to really enjoy it rather than thinking about like all the other things you could be doing or need to get done. And I remember when I was an elementary school teacher, I started to go to school feeling like I was experiencing it in a whole different way, because I was like, whoa, this used to be a job where I have to come and I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's like my perspective completely shifted. And I was like, I just want to feel really good here. And I want the kids to feel that from me. And in turn, they'll feel really good, and we'll be able to have more space for learning and have more focus or whatever else comes with that. But I completely agree. It's like it really, and that's where the quantum shifts come in, because we're altering our frequency and our energy. We're able to hold a new frequency. And then that's where like feeling the abundance and knowing you're already abundant is where so much abundance actually lives, because you're programmed to see it from that perspective. All the evidence of abundance you already have. And that is actually the key to welcoming in more. I love how sometimes you start with like a 10-minute meditation, then you go into like another 15-minute one. I think sometimes we just need to start, and we just need to be like, all I need is 5 or 10 minutes. And then when we give ourselves a space, it's like, oh, I have more time and I actually want to be here and I want to do this. So I had 2 questions. My first question was, how long did it take you to feel a shift from the meditation practice? And then my other question was just telling us like where you get it in your day with 2 little ones at home. So the first one is just like, how many meditations you think you tuned into to finally be like, whoa, something's working and this is definitely for me and I'm going to stick with this?
It wasn't like too far in. Even like the first 7 days that you offer, I think like day 2 is even like you feel that like little buzz of, you know, just like energy and things like moving within you. It was pretty early on. And that's why it was like easy to go back to it.
Yeah.
Because I felt it so fast, kind of like an instant gratification.
I know.
Which is, you know, like it's
know.
nice, right?
Yeah.
Because like you just, as a mom of 2 especially, like it's like you just don't have that free time.
Yeah.
So it's like, you
want
know,
it worth
that
it.
5 minutes, like, you know, before when I had Sydney, I used to just like one kid, I used to just put her in the stroller and do 10,000 steps, you know, 15,000 steps a day and whatever. And now with 2, it's like one's napping, the other one's not napping. You know, if they're both napping, then it's a miracle. Like, like, and then that's like where you're kind of squeezing it in. I actually thought about this because I told you, you know, I told you this, like, this is the one thing that I've been doing that became a habit for me. And it was such an easy habit to create. And the reason why I realized is like, do you know James Clear of Atomic Habits?
Yes.
So he has like the whole, like he's like the habits, you know, guru. He talks about like how if you want to start a new habit, just like you need to just 2 minutes every day. Like, so if like you want to, you know, get into running, like put your sneakers on, go for a 2-minute walk and whatever. This is the same thing, right? Because it's short. It's like 5 minutes. So every day, like if you're doing 5 to 10 minute meditations, it starts to shift things. And it's like the idea of like compound interest,
Yes.
right? Like you're building on that.
Yeah.
And so like you're just continuing that. And that's like where it becomes easier to be like, okay, let me do like a little bit more, let me do 3, let me try an hour. There's such an expansive library of things to pick from. So it's like whatever you want to be feeling, you can change it with your mood. You could change your mood with the meditation. The shifts happen pretty quickly. In terms of like when I find time, I would love to do what you do and like get up at like, 5 a.m. Between 5 and 6 a.m. I have, both of the girls it's like I'm splitting my, time between them because one's crying and then the other one wakes up crying. And it's like, so at that point in time, I'm just like praying for a little bit more sleep. So usually I do my meditations midday. Like I'll go into a sunny room and just, once like they're sleeping or if like one's at nursery school and the other one's down for a nap. And like I said, to me, I think it's important just to immerse yourself in it and just really feel it. And so that's usually when I do it. And I mean, I've also done them at night, but ideally, like I love to do them during the day because that's like, after you're done, that's when you're dealing with life and reacting to things. And hopefully it'll come, to that point where I'll be able to get up. I'm like, I would have to get up at 4:30 to find like free time that early, like undisturbed time. Cause like, that's my thing. Like I like to be undisturbed in my meditation. There are times when I've done it, like where I was doing the, what was the last one, the equinox one?
Yeah.
And I was just like, it was 7:30. I was like, all right, Josh, like you got the kids, like I'm going into the room and I'm going to do my meditation. And like, Sydney like Bluey's on, like she should be distracted. And then literally like, I don't know, 20 minutes in, I hear her like bang on the mommy, like let me in crying. And so I was just like, I open up the door and I just continue doing it. Just continue doing the meditation. I took my earphones out so she can hear it. And she knows about you. She knows I do meditations. She calls you the meditation lady. That's your official name at our home. And and so she sat down next to me and she started doing it with me, which is like another thing that is amazing about this practice and doing this is that I'm teaching her now how to deal with stress. And so this week's been like a little bit rough because the baby's teething and like just, it's been like a little bit of a whirlwind. And there are a couple of times where I actually, I've wanted to do like a longer meditation. I just haven't had a chance to like really refill that cup. And she's like seen me like frustrated. And she's not even 3, by the way. And she'll be like, Mommy, like, why are you frustrated? You need to take a deep breath, breathe in.
And she knows the
and
skills
breathe out.
already.
And she knows it. And because she learned it from me, she like learned it because this is something that I practice. And I'm so happy that this is something that she can continue learning and this can become a tool for her, in the future. So just so thankful for it.
It's so nice that you sharing that with her too, and that you let her in on the meditations as well, because it's so true. They're so open and they're like sponges and they will pick up on things very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to not only have the tools for ourselves, but like model that example and be like, this is how we can regulate our emotions. It's so impactful, as we know. And imagine like the future of these children who have the skills so much earlier on than we had them.
Yeah.
It would be so helpful if I had them earlier. Everything in divine time. But yeah, I think it's wonderful that you find the time whenever. Like I know I always advocate for morning meditation, but the reality is sometimes our schedules just won't allow that. And it's like, where can we get it in? And I think it is important to have uninterrupted time as well. And just having that time to feel safe and to know that it's yours, because you could obviously go into a much deeper state just knowing that, and that there aren't going to be interruptions. Aiming small, just as you have, I feel like is such a testament and such an inspiration to so many people listening, because from the moment I met you and you feeling something very deeply, but like not sure if you were willing to go there and if you felt safe to go there. And now just seeing you like open up so much and connect so deeply to the meditations, and you're seeing such like an impact and application into your everyday life, it shows that like, yeah, there is some immediate gratification, which I thank God for, because I felt that my first time too. And I think that's what kept me coming back. It is that simple, like connect to your breath and you will feel something instantly. And I think what we don't realize is that compounding interest and like how much just a little bit every day really does impact us and benefit us. And starting with 5 minutes every day leads to such a change. And I was just talking to someone the other day about like when life gets good for them, they're like, oh, do I really need to do this every day?
Mm.
And like you kind of want to believe like you don't need to do anything every day. And I was sharing how I know the potential I have to tap into if I do it each day.
Mm.
And I know how my energy feels on the days I do it versus the days I don't. With that being said, there is this almost like this investment bank that we're creating, because on the days now where I can't get to it, my body has muscle memory. I could take one breath and my body will remember what it feels like to be in a 40-minute meditation because of how many times I've done it. So that could save me that day if I skip it. But in the past, if I didn't have that, if I didn't have all that time invested in that muscle memory, it would be different. I wouldn't be able to have that immediate relief. So, although there is something that's happening and we are building on something every single day and we take that with us in every single day, the opportunity we really have every time to just tune into ourselves and tap in is something I just never want to skip out on. And like we're in this time of so much energy, so much information, so much consumption of other people's energy or information from social media, whatever it may be. It's like, why would we lose the chance of just spending at least 5 minutes in stillness and quiet and go
Mm.
within? That's where so many of our answers are. That's where so much of our intuition is. And that's where all that clarity comes from, where we're able, like you said, to tap into these new states of gratitude or this new state of clarity and peace within. So yeah, I thank you so much for sharing about your journey and how it's impacted you. And every single time I see you, I love to chat with you because you're always just so reflective and kind of like blown away by what the practice has brought to you. And I feel the same way about what it's brought to me. So I always just get so excited when it's just landing and really like you're seeing the impact, not just within yourself, but within like your family ecosystem and beyond that. So I just want to thank you so much for sharing all that you did. And if you have like any words of inspiration for someone who's on the fence or someone who feels like they have a busy mom life and it's hard for them to get started, if you want to leave them with a few words, that would be so helpful.
I would say that, especially like, I mean, first of all, it's 5 to 10 minutes. It's done so much for me that I've become interested in it. And now like you see it everywhere. Like if I came across something the other day, like if you hum for 10 minutes, and this is a cardiologist, he's like, if you hum for 10 minutes, you activate the vagus nerve and your blood pressure will go down, your heart rate will go down. This is like, you basically have all of these benefits that come with the practice. So like you're activating your vagus nerve, you're doing the breath work, you're improving your health, like you're improving your energy. And the biggest thing to me, which is the most important, I think, is that you're doing it in community. And that's the nice part. Like you're not doing a meditation like on your own. Like you can come together as a group, whether it's online or in person, and just be a part of this collective, which, is really important. And it's Harvard actually just had to release a study after 80 years, and they said that relationships are like the most important thing for your health and longevity. And it doesn't even have to just be like your nuclear family, just the immediate people around you, but community as well, like
Yeah.
being in community and being together. And so it really brings all those elements together. It brings the breath work, the mantras, the community, just the movement. It's such, in such a short amount of time. Like it's amazing. It's amazing. So any mom that's on the fence or any mom that's going through a pregnancy, if your hands are full and you think you need to do like the dishes or that next load of laundry or whatever, just stop. That will all be there. That will always be there. And just take a minute, close your eyes, put some headphones in, and then just breathe. Just breathe for 10 minutes with Erica, and like everything will shift.
Even the experience of washing the dishes or whatever else,
That
it
will
does.
actually shift too.
Everything does.
Because
Everything
then I
does.
actually, after I do my meditation, I will play White Sun and I'll play like mantra music in the background. And then
you're doing it in a different
yes,
energy.
and everyone else around me has to listen to it, so their energy shifts.
Yes, exactly. It's like, wow, I never thought I'd be so grateful while I washed some dishes. Thank you so much, though. This was so beautiful. I'm so glad we got time to chat, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate how, like, what an active member you are of the online community, the in-person community, and I'm just grateful we had this time together to chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this, to everyone, and just like, it's incredible.
Thank you.
Thank you.